Hi everyone, Max here from Flow.ai. Real writing rarely starts from a blank page. It starts from chaos. Email threads, pasted notes, comments in the chat, last year's doc. Most of us spend more time organizing than actually writing. Studies have shown knowledge workers lose roughly 8 to 9 hours a week just searching for information before we even begin to draft. But here's the shift. Copilot in Word turns that chaos into a clean first draft fast, summarizes from your inputs, rewrites to your tone, gaps highlighted, and key points formatted into tables. Early field data show that users get to a first draft faster and higher quality. 85% says faster first draft. Users were 29% quicker on writing or summarizing tasks. If you're in a Google Workspace, Gemini for Workspace plays a similar role inside Docs. If you use general AI like ChatGPT, it is great for ideation, but it won't natively see your tenant files without extra connectors. This episode is the Word playbook inside Microsoft 365, so you can ship clear documents without the busy work. Stick with me, I'll show you how I go from raw inputs into a polished brief, then summarize, tighten, get suggestions, structure as a table, plus even generate podcasts from our documents possibly better than Notebook-LM. Let's get started. So in order to use Copilot in your Microsoft Word account, you need to buy a license. And I have a video somewhere here where I show how you can get a license for your Microsoft 365 apps. And once you have that, basically, this is how your interface is going to look now. You will have kind of three thingies pop up on the very top, describe what you would like to write. And on the right-hand corner of your Word interface, you will see a Copilot icon pop up again. So we'll go through this just in a second. So first of all, even before you start writing anything in the Word document, you can already use Copilot capabilities. So one of the things would be you can reference any other documents and create new documents based on the previous conversations, PowerPoint presentations, Excel documents, and even more. So for example, let's imagine I have a cooperation offer style that I usually use, and it looks something like this. So cooperation offer, there is a proposal, there is a price and deadline. And here we have basically the pricing and everything. So you can see basically my, signature that I usually use, etc. So this is kind of a standard sample offer that I use. And the other thing that I have is basically an email thread where, imagine with a company, we're discussing express pickup self-service lockers. And there was a lot of information in this that we need to introduce these lockers, and there is a kind of a long thread that we were discussing. And basically what I want to do, let's imagine based on that thread, I need to create a cooperation offer. But just because I don't want to start from scratch, I can use Copilot to help me with that. So let's get back to our Copilot. Let's ask, create a cooperation offer for a client in the format of, and now in order to reference any file, I need to use the slash kind of sign, and then basically it will pop up all the possible documents that you have in your SharePoint. In my case, I'm going to select the format of the file is the format of the offer that I have. And then I go based on the content, and now I'm going to reference basically here express pickup service self-service lockers, and this is the long email thread that we just had with our other team members that we're going to introduce. So create a cooperation offer for a client in the format of this one based on the content like this. Let's hit enter. So now instead of me going and checking the content, kind of trying to understand what we should really put in the offer, I can have Copilot do the first draft for me, because it's going to be much easier to edit stuff rather than generate it from the scratch yourself. So now if we look back here, so we have pretty much the same style as I had before. So if we look down to my offer that I have here, yes, the formatting is a little bit different, and I have it like all in in the black color, and the alignment is a little bit different. But I mean, if we look at the headings and what we are kind of using to split the section by, it's basically the same. It even created some bullet points right in here, although the format and the offer itself is very, very different. The previous offer that I had was really about, financial services that I'm going to offer. Here we're talking about project management services. So, dear client, we're pleased to announce, then we hit with the proposal, then we have a few bullet points, and then we go with a little bit more details, and then we arrive to price and deadline, and pretty much the format is the same as I had in my original offer. Pretty cool. It even came up with some random price, which is funny. All right, so I can actually go and tell it to set the specific price straight away if I know, but if I don't, and I assume that's just fine, we will just go and keep this as is. So if you think this offer is a little bit too long, what we can do is actually we can pre-select the whole thing, and we can click on the smaller icon that appears on the left-hand side. So once we click there, there are a few writing suggestions: auto rewrite or visualize as a table. I'll go just with the instruction that we need to shorten the text that we selected. So let's actually see if it can shorten what we already have. So now in the blue, you will actually see what it has rewritten based on the content that it had before. So now what we can do is we can keep it, or we can actually replace the content right in here. So here we have, a long text with a lot of things, but here's the shortened version that I can replace the original content with. Actually, I don't want to be replacing. I can rerun it, or I can discard it, or I can keep it as a separate one. Well, in this case, I think the original content is a little bit more detailed, and I will just keep it and press on the bin button. So now what instead I want to do is I want to go to this side where I describe what we're going to do in our proposal, and I want to split it by project deadlines with specific terms, so it's clear to everyone how we're going to work with this. So now we have phase 1, now we have phase 2, phase 3, phase 4. Pretty nice. Now it's looking a little bit messy because it just puts this thing just right in the middle. So what I'm gonna do now is instead I'm gonna keep this thing as for now, and now I'm gonna select these different phases, and I'm gonna hit the button again, and I'm gonna ask to visualize as a table. So now instead of just keeping this as a separate text chunk, I want to put it on a table so that it's clear for everyone, and that looks much better. So let's actually keep that. And now I have a separate table where we have different phases of the project, when the realization is going to happen, key activities, payment terms, and notes. Well, the payment terms for each phase is a little bit weird to add, but again, you can specify it a little bit more explicitly. What do you want to include in a table and what do you need? So you can make it look a little bit better than actually I did. So in my case, I don't need this part anymore. So what do I have? I have the offer, and I also have an additional table where I pretty much describe what is going to be the project timeline for this project. Pretty nice, isn't it? So another thing we can use Copilot for is to make it easier to work with some documents that are already pre-created for us. So think about, I have a report on the potential market for AI in corporate finance, and then a longer thread that consists of like 8 pages, about 3,000 words, and I'm a little bit busy to read it all. So instead, when I open my Copilot in Word, I automatically receive a summary of the document. So artificial intelligence significantly reshaping corporate finance, and etc. etc. So it also provides me references where this is actually taken from. And the summary is auto-generated for all the documents that already have content. That's pretty neat, isn't it? So now what we can do is I can actually click the Copilot icon right in here, and I can ask my Copilot any questions about this document. For example, I can go and ask, explain this document like to a 5-year-old kid. And I was gonna do, because it already has in its knowledge base basically the content of this file, it will go and sort of generate me a quick summary of what this is, explaining like a 5-year-old kid. Organize your toys, keep your toys safe, help you play better, clean up. Okay, so that's about AI in corporate finance. Pretty nice. Also, what you're provided with a few things in the chat here. So you can sort of insert this thing. So if I click insert, even if I click somewhere here and I click insert, by any means or any chance, nothing actually happens. And I'm not sure what is the problem with this one, but at least for me, this feature is actually not working. What should really happen is that this piece of text is actually integrated or inserted straight into the document, so that we don't need to copy paste that with our hands. But for me, unfortunately, that doesn't work. I tried many times, and I think there's just a little bit buggy right now, but hopefully that's going to be solved soon. So if you want to use this text, you may need to just simply copy paste that. So if you want to start a new chat, you will need to go up here and you will need to create a new conversation. And let's imagine that I have created this document and I want to add sort of my credentials to this document. So I'm going to say add information about my company, and I'm going to name the company explicitly. And here in the brackets, I'm going to specify that search on the web. So add information, details about my company. So the thing is that this AI assistant or Copilot has actually access to the web. So instead of me going and adding this information manually, I can ask my Copilot to actually search the web and add this information for me. And let me just ask output in a table format. So now it actually went to the web and basically it found that my company is located right in here. That's the registration number and some other things. But now it has actually outputted the information straight in the table, which is pretty nice. So if I want to put sort of my credentials or my information about my company to this document, ideally I should just click insert button, but this unfortunately doesn't work. So what I need to do, I need to select this thing and put it right in here. Well, if I just copy paste it blindly, basically the formatting is a little bit weird because now it's sort of all of them are in the blue color, no black color, and that's not consistent. That's not what I like. And that's why when you copy paste things now in Microsoft Word, you have a few things to use here. You have paste with Copilot. So one thing is you can merge formatting. The other thing, you can keep text only. And that's how you actually eliminate the table format. Or you can actually keep source formatting. And this is probably what I actually want to use because I want to have this cool formatting because we have a table and it's pretty clear what we're talking about right in here. So for the document or my company details, I will probably get rid of this thing because I don't really need this part. So I can easily go and delete it, as I would simply do this with the regular table in Microsoft Word. And that's kind of a cooler part, that it sort of uses the inbuilt Word features that are so familiar to us on the everyday use. So another feature that we can use with the Copilot that so many people know about, I actually would say very few people know about, is that you can generate podcasts of your documents straight in the Word document. So for example, we can go and hit generate an audio overview from this document. And basically what's going to happen now is it's going to create a podcast of two people talking hand by hand about the content of this document for me. We can download this and save it in our, mobile phone later so that we can listen when we drive home, or we can just listen it straight in here. Let's actually wait for it. So I think it took something like 30 seconds to generate the output, and let's actually take a listen.
Hello and welcome to today's overview, where we're taking a deep dive into how artificial intelligence is reshaping the world of corporate finance. Whether you're intrigued by new technology, changing business landscapes, or just want to know how AI fits into your region's economy, this discussion is going to have something that hits home.
Right. It's not every day we get to look across Latvia, the broader Baltic scene, all of Europe, and even the global picture in one go. But that's exactly what we're doing. Our main guide is the potential.
That's how it works. I think that's a pretty cool feature. You can even move forward for like 15 seconds and increase the speed, or you can save it OneDrive and listen later. So it works similar to how NotebookLM actually works, but it just built into Microsoft app, and not so many people know you can actually generate audio overviews of your files like it's been done in NotebookLM for like a year or more now. Well, another thing we can use with Microsoft Copilot for Word, we can actually pre-select a specific text in the Word document that we need, and we can generate an image for it. So think about if you're working on a report, but you need to add a little bit of imagery so that it looks more attractive. So we can go and say, for example, we need to select this text, and we can go with generate an image for this text, and then we hit add selection button. So basically add selection button is something we selected here, so you don't need to copy paste it right in here. And now based on this text that is right in here, it will generate an image for me. So let's wait for that. All right, after like 20 to 30 seconds, we got something like this. So now let's actually hit here and let's click insert. Now we can insert this image. So again, this image is AI generated image, as you can probably see. So there are no copyright issues with using this image. But again, you know, the quality may be not so bad, but I mean, if you start looking at the details, that might not be perfect, but sometimes that's just enough what we need to kind of make it a little bit more attractive. So yes, and now actually the insert button actually works as it was supposed to work. You can insert the image straight into your document. And of course, the last thing is you may use all these features, or you may just go here and click on this icon and ask it to generate whatever text you actually wish. Just describe as a usual prompt what you want, or you can go here, open a new chat, and basically again reference any other documents that you have, or just, you know, talk to your AI, ask for whatever questions you want, you know, about this document or in general, and it will generate the respective text that you want, as with the usual in other apps or ChatGPT or etc. So you can use it as the general purpose AI model, or use this as an LLM with additional context that is within this document. So my goal for today was to show you what are some context features that you can use and, you know, make a Copilot a little bit more useful for your business on the one hand, and on the other hand, that how you can use additional features that are pre-built already for you. Like, for example, you can visualize stuff as a table, generate audio overviews, and, you know, generate content from any documents that you have in your Microsoft 365 account. You saw the past: chaos in, clarity out, summary, shorter copy, sharper structure, incredible visuals and audio where it helps comprehension. That's hours saved and decisions made sooner. And just a quick reminder, I run an AI automation agency, and if you want to implement AI in your business, reach out to us at info@flowby.ai. Next episode, PowerPoint. Turn today's doc into a tight on-brand deck in minutes. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you there.